From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including our terrestrial affiliates right across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you right there, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Melinda Leslie is a UFO abductee and has been public with both her own extraterrestrial and covert ops human abduction experiences, otherwise known as MiLabs. For the last 28 years, she has been considered by many an authority on a military and intelligence agency involvement in UFO abduction cases. Her extensive abduction research and personal experiences have been featured in over 25 books by prominent authors. Melinda is an investigator in the field of ufology with 30 years of experience and has researched individuals involved in its cover-up for the last 28. For over 9 years, she has been the owner of UFO sighting tours in Sedona, Arizona, where she has conducted over 1,200 tours with the use of military night vision goggles. And we're going to get in deep tonight. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I'm going to bring you... Actually, no. We're going to skip the news tonight. Melinda's going the distance. Melinda's going the distance to have some fun with us tonight and really break down some of these weird, strange topics. Melinda Leslie, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. It's been a while since I saw you at UFOCon 2020 in San Francisco this past February, but nonetheless, I love you anyways. Thank you for coming back.
Sure, Dave. Thanks for having me. Well, I'm sitting in my big comfy chair now at home, so there we go.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
And, that's people who got on the feed on YouTube knew what was going on there. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
We are. We definitely are. Now, you have been involved in ufology for the last 3.5 decades or so. And I got to ask you, do you like how it has changed since when you started to where we are now?
Well, ufology is always changing. So, when I could, at any given moment in my 30 years of being involved, it's constantly morphed, the last 2 years have been very exciting because of the whole To the Stars ATIP story, everything breaking there. And that is still ongoing, and other developments that have happened within the last, 2 or 3 years. So it's been a very exciting time to be in the field, lots of growth and, and lots of changes. You got to roll with it. It's an evolving, state of research, and, you got to roll with it. You got to roll with the changes. Dave, you and I spoke before, earlier day, and there's a couple, significant developments, not only in research, but in the way things are being handled going on in the field. And, so, yeah, but has it changed from when I first got in it? Yeah, but it's constantly changed. So if you had asked me at any point in the 30 years, I would have had the same response,
No, and I can understand that. I mean, the field is always going to rotate. It's either going to be full of information and then it's going to go dark once again. We've seen that over time and time again. However, Melinda, when I look at it, I see a very good young crop of researchers that are coming up. I see some great veteran researchers that have come through the ranks and have really learned from some amazing people. But it doesn't seem like there is much coinciding between the younger generation of researchers who's very social media savvy comparatively to the veteran researchers who've been doing this for 25, 30, 40 plus years. and there seems to be some sort of misconnect there. What do you think that is?
Yeah, no, I agree. There could be a lot of reasons for it. Certainly, like you just said, there's a whole social media savvy crowd, and not that there's any exacting in age, but I'll say, kind of a 45 and under age crowd. And then there's quite a bit older crowd that I would put at 65 and over that aren't social media active, with a few exceptions, but the majority, and certainly in the leading researchers in the UFO field, there's a bunch of people that are in this older crowd. And then there's you and me and a bunch of us who I'd put in that middle range. Again, no definite here. I just was thinking about this a bunch today, that are between, say, 45 and 65, but, at one time, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, ufology, when I got in it 30 years ago, and even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, would always say, and the leading researchers in the field, the senior researchers, I don't mean senior as far as old, just as far as, their deep involvement, authors on the lecture circuit, that ilk. They used to always say, where's the young people? You go to a conference and the average age of a conference attendee was 65, and it's like, no joke. It was really like missing the younger people. And, now I'm going to leave names out tonight in this discussion for the most part, but I'll go ahead and mention one that deserves some credit because at one time he was the young guy and everybody like glommed onto him, and that's John Greenwald, who at one time everyone was like, finally someone young who's really putting their time and energy and, really doing really amazing research, and still is, by the way. But okay, so, but then all of a sudden, at some point within the last 10 years, there's been this explosion, and I'd even say the last 5 years, of people that are like under the age of 45, and it's been huge. And so, so I jokingly say, ufology, you got to be careful what you ask for, because we kept saying, where's the young people? We want young people. I mean, really, this was the discussion at every major conference and every conference producer, how do we, get the young people, and, who can we have that's a younger speaker? And now there's a plethora. So, so on one hand, it's like, great, we finally got young people, but here's the catch. Younger people haven't been in the field for 30 years. They, if they're 35, they were 5 years old 30 years ago, So you go, okay, wait a second. So you go, okay, they don't have that wealth of experience and knowledge. And what I'm hearing from a lot of the older researchers, even older than you and Dave, you and I, Dave, but is the frustration over that. And, and so you do have this disconnect. And I think it's in some way up to those of us in that middle range, you and I and every one of our kind of, whether they're 10 years younger than us or 10 years older than us, kind of in that range, have a responsibility to kind of help bridge that gap. But I was cracking myself up over like the last 2 days. I've been more and more active on social media. Part of it is during this whole COVID thing. I've been, as well as many people, on Facebook and Twitter more than usual, a lot more, and and caught up in discussions we've had just this year alone. Besides all that stuff going on, but we've had a lot of things going on in the UFO community. And, and of course, what was it, just a week ago, or a week and a half ago, that we had that major, release by the Pentagon, an official release by the Pentagon of the 3 FLIR footage pieces. And so that's, it was huge for the Pentagon to say, yep, this is ours, here it is. I mean, they already said it was theirs back in, last September, but the difference being they re-released them directly from the Pentagon. And so that's huge. I mean, you guys, when, you go back 10 years ago and say the Pentagon was going to release FLIR footage, black and white footage shot from the gun cameras of F-18 fighter jets taking off from aircraft carriers during major military maneuvers at sea, and they're going to put this footage out there as saying, yes, it's ours, our Navy filmed it, we have it, and we don't know what it is, and we're calling it UAP. That would have been unimaginable 10 years ago. Heck, it would have been unimaginable 5 years ago. So that's huge. And the development of that story over the last, 2 or 3 years, into them now re-releasing as of just a week ago. So that, no one could, we need to all wrap our heads around about how big of a deal that is. And in the midst of major news on all fronts, let's go into, let's not, but to say politics and the COVID, between those two things, and other things going on too in the news, but all of a sudden this was like major back burner, and not getting the attention it should have. Now maybe that's deliberate, but it almost doesn't matter. It happened the way it happened. So, but okay. So the reason I brought that up is my thinking about this, and involved online in those conversations more increasingly over the last 2 years. And then, and so many times my own personal frustration of, again, this younger crowd not having the background knowledge. So for instance, you have To the Stars Academy, and they're going on, for instance, right. You and I spoke about this today, but going on Glenn Beck with Chris Mellon and Luis Elizondo, going on Glenn Beck's new, television show, and talking about, everything and their involvement and the fact that they've gotten, funding from the Army and they're pursuing this and why we should pursue it, et cetera. But in the midst of all that and discussions, I realized there's this whole discussion happening in social media right now with, what are these things? And the lacking of the discussion of it, or the question coming up about whether it's ET or not. Well, you didn't, but if people, because you guys, I'm in on a little thing here. We're talking, unfortunately, to Dave today. So I know you admit you didn't see the Glenn Beck thing yet, but you will. But I can say this, in that I keep saying that Chris Mellon and Luis Elizondo were doing a tap dance on their tippy toes. I keep saying that in different things. They were tap dancing on their toes. And Glenn Beck was doing his best to ask deeper questions, to take it to a deeper level. And these guys were it was very entertaining, to say the least, to watch the play going on there. But in social media and the comments about it all, we keep going back to there being, I want to put this nicely, but I'll just say, a missing knowledge on the history, not only between To the Stars, ATIP, BASS, NIDS, okay? And so that'll all come back around later when we talk about the Wilson document. But okay, so not only, that lack of information, but what is really known by the military, for starters, this isn't the first time there's been gun camera footage. And in 30 years of UFO research, that's come up repeatedly. So that's not new. that pilots have come forward, military pilots talking about what they saw, and major sightings by military pilots. Major sightings that were well talked about for years in the UFO field. One that comes to mind right away is the Iranian fighter pilot.
Right.
Paviz, I'll think of his name. I know it's Paviz. I'll think of his name in just seconds on the tip of my tongue. But that whole story, and others. I mean, that's just one of many. And all the nuclear facilities and the shutdowns. And, so there's so much that you go into. Let's just go into the pilot thing. There's so many previous pilots who, again, when I say pilots, I mean specific, commercial airline too, but let's get into just the military pilots. Let's get into massive sightings and sightings of things going in and out of the water from aircraft carriers. So that aircraft carriers and their crews and the radars were involved is not a new story. Okay? And so what I realized, this lack of history knowledge on the UFO subject. Now, everyone's guilty of it to varying degrees, sure, and I'm not going to say I know everything, but I've been very involved in the subject for 30 years, so I'm pretty up on it. I think if they were giving out honorary master's degrees in ufology, I'd probably qualify. Seriously, you and me both, by the way, of course, but so you go, okay, this is not new. And then let's get into the whole crash retrieval stuff. The fact that in multiple of the crash retrievals, there were alien bodies involved. Okay, so we go into alien bodies recovered. Okay, you guys, so this needs to be part of the discussion. Now, I know, and I've spoken to TTSA members directly, that their interest is not ufology. Their interest is going mainstream, and they feel they have to roll it out in a very specific manner, and that they are trying to get the funding that they're getting from the military, from the intelligence community, from the DOD and the Pentagon. Okay, and they did. They got Army and DOD funding. So that is to do certain development projects and whatnot, and that was kind of their goal. And they've been clear all along. It's not about ufology. They don't see us as adversaries, though. They see us as helpful in getting the information out and et cetera. But they're wanting to both inform the public and get those projects and stuff under development. But so they're not talking about the ET thing. There was this one moment of Chris Mellon in the Glenn Beck interview when Glenn Beck kind of pushed that a little bit, and Chris Mellon said, we're not talking about that publicly. We're not talking about that publicly right now. In other words, we're talking about it behind closed doors. In fact, you guys, without a doubt, and everyone just take that leap forward. These guys absolutely know it's ETs. These guys, meaning To the Stars, ATIP, because there's a history. I just gave a lecture that's online now, the most recent version of, was something that was recorded by UFO Denmark last September that I hope everyone will watch, not because it's about me. It could be someone else giving the talk, but it just so happens myself and a research partner, Randy Kopang, have been researching the 40-year well-established history of something called the Working Group. Right. And we've been researching it for 30 years. So, I'll be more accurate and say 28 years, 28, maybe 29, 28 or 29 years of in-depth research into the fact that this group existed at least another 10 years before that, so 40-year history. And we have every reason to believe they existed even prior to that, thanks to a quote from Colonel Philip Corso when he was still alive, where Corso, when asked about it by Bill Burns, talked about a prehistory of the same group. Okay, but regardless, we know, because we can go back to Grant Cameron and me from two different sources having the same documents from their original meeting in 1985. Okay. So we both have physical evidence of that happening.
Melinda, we got about 3 minutes to go before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. And I want to ask you, in regards to, how we bring these two sides together. And I know sometimes you kind of go off on tangents. You go with whatever's on your mind, and that's what I love about you, and I just don't even interrupt. Okay. But when we get to the youth of ufology compared to the veterans, I look at it like this. When I got into the business 5 years ago, yes, I was in my 40s, okay, but it took a long time for me to get that trust. And there's still a number of people who are veterans in this field who will not give this show or me the time of day because, they're way better than me. And I don't question it. I don't even go there. It's not really my purpose. Has this been a fault of the veteran investigators who are able to learn but have not repaid that privilege? Or is this the younger generation being a little bit more wild and crazy and not knowing where they're going with it, okay, that is turning off the veterans who are refusing to teach?
Yeah, I would say it's both. And, and then, like I said, there's this middle crowd that I would put, you and I and Dolan and maybe Greg Bishop and some, blah, blah. I could go on and on, but there's a bunch of, as I say, is in that middle crowd. I could go on, but there's more, obviously, so, I say it's both. I think the development and the interplay with current technology, mostly the advent of social media and everything, has caused a separation. Now, it's not absolute, you guys, because someone could say, well, I know so-and-so and they're 75 and they're involved, but we're talking in general concept. Yeah, there is, it exists. Okay. And I'm a late comer to all that, thank God you and I, are involved in social media in many ways and in marketing and stuff, because I know current business, you gotta be, if you're not marketing in social media, you're dead in the water, so, and I understand that well. So I've become more involved and use it for a little bit of research information, but mostly as a marketing outreach and a little bit of just social interaction, especially now with the time to be able to do so. We all are. But yeah, I'm a latecomer to it, and I'm not as active or savvy at it, and in online social media marketing and production of events and stuff, as some of these people are brilliant at it. And
right.
So on one hand, I welcome that. And like I said, ufology said we want more new people. Well, we have, like I said, a plethora of it, younger people.
Yes.
Great. I think that's healthy. But
good.
I feel like I want to reach out to both, the older community to say, and us in the middle, to say,
Melinda, I got to get you to hold that thought until we come back, because we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Melinda Leslie, we are going to just let her finish her thought on today's ufology versus yesteryear's, and we're going to get deep into MiLabs coming up on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckford, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend's supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters on this beautiful spring night. Yes, I got to tell you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Our site is kind of crashing right now. We've had an overabundance of people, so I apologize about that, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it, and we'll get it back up here in the next little bit. We got Melinda Leslie on tonight. If you don't know Melinda's story, it is absolutely stunning and fantastic and scary all at the same time. Melinda is an ET abductee. She has been looking into UFOs for the last 30 years. She is always a speaker at the major conferences around North America. She's one of the best when it comes to talking about government involvement with extraterrestrials and UFOs. Melinda, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Now, right before the break, you were talking about the blending of the senior investigators with those who are up and coming in this field. I want to let you finish up that thought.
Well, you know, I was cracking myself up over the last couple of days because I need someone out there who's good at making memes, you know, little meme images, to make me one with Darth Vader on it. Okay, Darth Vader from Star Wars, okay, well known. And, you know, there's really a lot of very famous Darth Vader quotes, but one of the ones that's really famous is Darth Vader saying, "I find your lack of faith disturbing," right? Okay. So we all know, we can all hear his voice. You know, "I find your lack of faith disturbing," you know, okay. Hey, that's my best, that's one of my best Vader impersonations.
That was beautiful.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
Okay. So, oh, thank you. Well, there'll be more. So, and I've been getting frustrated in these social media, you know, whether it's Twitter or Facebook. Those, I admit, the only two I participate in because damn it, I'm over 50. But anyways, that was supposed to be a joke. But anyway, so but you know, in these discussions, I there's this frustration, and in listening to, you know, like I was saying, Chris Mellon and Luis Elizondo on with Jeff Beck, you know, the frustration of, God, you know, I know why they're not going there in the conversation, but I expect everyone else to know the background and to be able to go there in the conversation. And go there meaning the fact that it's well understood that it's ETs, that sightings by the military pilots, as I was saying right before the break, are so common. Reports of those over the 30 years I've been in the UFO field have been very common. And crash retrievals. I mean, you know, I was thinking the other day, where's Ryan Wood? You know, because there's all these, you know, crash retrievals that have happened. And I just go to him because he put on for, was it like 5 years, a major crash retrieval conference, having all the leading experts on that subject speak. And as well as he, you know, wrote a popular book in the UFO field about it. And so, and I'm like, he's in our age range. He's in that middle range. It's like, Ryan, you need to be in these discussions online, educating everyone and, you know, bringing up the obvious, you know, and that the crash retrievals aren't only about the technology, you know, crashed craft, physical ships, UFOs, you know, some crashed naturally on their own. Some were, in fact, shot down by, you know, by the military, by the government, but then, or governments, you know, I should say, of the world, because of course these crashes were from all over the world. But also the fact that alien bodies were on board. I mean, you guys, we know this in this field. Let's not tiptoe around it. I understand while To the Stars is tiptoeing around it because it's not about us. It's about the public and it's about their getting their funding. I get it. Okay. You know, but we shouldn't be tiptoeing around it. This has been established repeatedly. And what I keep hearing is it sounds like in the clamor of the discussion, it sounds like people don't know this. You guys, we do know this. Come on. You know, really? There was a crash retrieval conference for years, for Christ's sake. Yeah. So okay.
I hear you.
So, yeah, and it's frustrating. So I want someone to come up with a Darth Vader meme, and I wanted to say the following things. In fact, I think I have, what did I list here? 6 versions of it, and there may be more. But one that says, because I want to be able to reply. So if anyone's out there is good at creating memes, please create one. Create this for me. Create these for me, and send them to me on Facebook Messenger. You know, it's a really good way to communicate with me for anyone out there. You want to reach me, Facebook Messenger, but be patient. I get a lot of stuff, so sometimes my reply can take a little while. But if you sent something already to me weeks or months ago and I never replied, send me something again. Okay. So I would love someone to produce a couple memes. But so again, go back to Darth Vader saying, I find your lack of faith disturbing, but instead it'll be, so if I can do this like Darth Vader, I find your lack of UFO history knowledge disturbing. Okay.
I can see that.
I find your lack of UFO historical knowledge disturbing. Or here's another one. I find your lack of alien abduction knowledge disturbing. Or I find your lack of, UFO crash retrieval, UFO crash retrieval knowledge disturbing. Or here's another one. I really like this one.
Okay,
I find your lack of military UFO encounters knowledge disturbing, or abduction research, So, and it's because I thought, in that moment of frustration of, come on, you guys, really, that I want to reply with just a meme. I want to reply with just that meme picture, of I find your lack of UFO history knowledge disturbing, because comedy is the only way you can respond to this.
True.
In so many ways. And
what isn't comical, though, is the experiences that you and other people have had that are called military abductions. And I got to tell you, I'm happy, and I'm an abductee as well. I am happy that I have not had that experience yet that I know of, because there is just something really freaky in thinking that governments of the world have these hidden projects where they are doing tests called MiLabs on people.
Well, let's define that, because in the way you're describing it right now, you're taking it to the far extreme right off the bat, and MiLabs has become a catchphrase that's also been misused because some recent deliberately hoaxed cases we're throwing that around. And it's quite unfortunate that any of that happened. So people have kind of the wrong idea. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time going over the background, because I know you were telling people, I'll share some stories and stuff. And so, but I want people to understand like what it is and what it isn't, kind of thing. I've been doing the MiLab research, and MiLab is MIL for military and AB for abduction. So it's just an acronym meaning military abduction. Now, it doesn't just mean abducted by the military. That's where the term has become incorrect, if you will, or, and some people claim to be involved in the secret space program deeply in a MiLab thing. And again, some stories have turned out to be hoaxes. I don't know. Don't need now to go into specifics, but so in my research and people like myself, it started for me with investigating my own alien abduction experiences. Back in 1989 is when everything kind of started for me. Now, before that, I had regular jobs, and career in retail management, and then office management, and then architectural field, and et cetera. And always was involved in what I will say is metaphysics and spirituality, kind of on the side, which really kicked into high gear for me in high school. And then all of a sudden in 1989, I took a last minute fluke of a trip out to, and I've told this story many times, so I don't need to go in detail, but last minute fluke of a trip out to Area 51 in Nevada, right when the whole Bob Lazar story was breaking. So Lazar hadn't even gone public, but you had, at the time, you had other researchers, most notably John Lear, out there talking about it, and then not that long after that, Knapp, et cetera, So, but when that first happened, I went out to Area 51, and a number of people did, and I went on a couple of consistent back-to-back trips. And I had a bunch of sightings and remarkable sightings, and that was like inserting a key in my head and turning it, because it started to unlock my whole abduction discovery process. Memories coming forward initially in dreams, and then remembering childhood, teenage, young adult, and then also then in late 89, early 90, having current brand new alien abduction experiences. But this all went on, and then all of a sudden there was this interesting change in direction for me, or inclusion of what happened in August of 93 and November of 1993 is I had two back-to-back experiences of being abducted by the military, to specifically be questioned and interrogated. Well, one was a medical thing and the other was a technology thing. One was specifically medical and DNA related, and then the other one was questioning me, interrogating me about ET technology. But that was in August and November, so right back to back in 1993. But part of that was realizing also that leading up to that, starting in probably 90, I started to have harassment and surveillance, the infamous black helicopter harassments, being watched, being followed, where I lived under surveillance, cars following me, weird phone calls, this kind of stuff had already started prior to my having those abductions. And then it's all continued to the present day. I have ongoing alien experiences even still, and ongoing military covert human involvement. And that's what I call it now, because when you think military, you feel like you're limiting it to just the military. Well, it's also covert human, covert intelligence types, military types, aerospace types, involved as well. So I had to broaden the terminology that I use to say covert human involvement in the extraterrestrial abduction phenomena. It took me years to kind of tweak it to where I felt like I could say something as concise as covert human agency involvement in the extraterrestrial abduction phenomena. But that's it. That's how to define it. But it was given this name, an abductee, Katarina Wilson. Kat Wilson had coined the term MiLab, and then a team of authors, a husband and wife couple, Helmut and Marion Lammer, used that with Kat's permission and used that as the title of their book, MiLab. So that's where that term comes from. And Kat Wilson came up with it because she was having the experiences and working with many other abductees and researchers who knew about it. And she said, God, it's like we're being abducted by the military. So she coined the acronym MiLab. So that's where that came from. But over time, it's come to incorporate a bunch of stuff. And that's why I think it's properly better defined as any covert involvement in the abduction subject, which can get into the the fact that covert intelligence and or military individuals are researching abductees, down to what you just said, and what I said was kind of the far end of that, which was the re-abduction. But I have up in front of me, and I probably at some point will try to send you a couple pictures, but in my presentations on this, I developed this one slide and, in PowerPoint, which is this big curved line, like an upward arrow going up. So the curve of development of this, if you will. And I have on the low end, just throw out some ideas, that we know it's well established in extraterrestrial abduction research that abductions go back in family. If you're an alien abductee, it's very common to find out it happened to your parents or grandparents, and then you have kids, it happens to them, or you have grandkids, it happens to them. It used to be a big deal, 20 years ago in abduction research to know of it going back 3 generations, 3 generations in a family or 4. Well, now it's really common to understand of like 5 generations. Okay. There's a lot of families that have that, including my own, and many people I've worked with. When I say worked with, I'm not a therapist or regression therapist. I'm a researcher and investigator. I started off investigating my own experiences, and then over time that grew to, it grew right away within the first year to my meeting other people with the experiences and, with the harassment and surveillance and the monitoring and the re-abduction, experiences. And re-abduction being re-abducted by humans as opposed to just ETs, and everything in between. And so I started to meet other people, and then I started talking to major abduction researchers, and to find out they all had multiple cases of it. They all do. It's just across the board. And so that led to, my self-investigation led to investigating other cases. And so it became kind of a research project for me, to this day. And so I've worked with hundreds of people. And when I say worked with, again, I'm not a therapist. I don't even do regression. I've interviewed someone extensively about their experiences. So when I say a case of mine, it usually means someone I've spent many hours interviewing them, and in some cases many days, interviewing them about their experience. But, as I said, we understand in abduction research that goes back in families. Well, it turns out so does this. And often there's all sorts of family history, background stuff related, not only where the alien abduction goes back or the involvement with covert humans goes back, but also family members involved in deeply involved in the aerospace community and military intelligence, in the intelligence community, CIA, intelligence, etc., NSA, as well as military intelligence, as well as aerospace technology and development and secret societies. And there's so much overlap in these different areas that comes up consistently amongst my cases. But then it goes into after your ET abduction stuff. So all that could pre-exist, you even knowing you're an abductee, like in me. I didn't find out till 1989. I now know that this went back for me long before that. So I found out I was an alien abductee in 89, but it had alien abduction my whole life. I didn't know I had covert human involvement till 1993, but it didn't just start in 93. It goes back. I have evidence that it goes back to 90 and even 89, and I have evidence that goes back before that, because a deep level insider provided something to me that shows that it actually went back further. So it's like, wait a second, I didn't know till 93 that I had this covert human involvement going way back, but I did. And that's just so everyone gets their head around how this happens. And then once you have the ET abduction stuff, it can develop from there into, for instance, threats and warnings and phone calls. There's surveillance, black helicopter stuff, having your computer, your email, whatever, your computer monitored, broken into, etc. And it can be very covert, like where it's hard to kind of figure out that it's happening, or it can be very overt and very clearly in your face. But if it's in your face and they approach you, or they email you, or they call you, that's meant to be intimidation, because they want you to know. Okay, and then it can develop from there, where you are befriended by government and military and technical people, that are deep insider types that start to befriend you in your life. That can happen as well. And then you can have the reabduction event. Now, the reabductions can be, for instance, first off, there's complete alien experiences where someone has an alien abduction, boom, and aliens take them, aliens bring them back. It's an alien abduction, okay? And there's, that can happen in a variety of ways. You can be taken from home, from traveling, from your car, from planes, from, a lot of ways, that can happen. Okay. And then there's experiences where you can be taken by the military and brought back by the military. But in my research, and I choose to focus specifically, it is happening to you because you've had alien abduction. It seems that their interest in you is because you're an alien abductee. And then I can get into, there's like 5 categories of predominant interest in the abductees. But okay, so you can be taken by military and brought back by military. So it's seemingly an experience with humans.
We got 1 minute here to go before we go to break.
Okay.
Yeah, we got.
Well, let me speed this up.
Okay, go ahead.
And go through these categories in that last minute, if I may. So then there's experiences where you're taken by the military and brought back by the military, but you might see ETs present. For instance, if you're taken to either an above ground or an underground military base, that there can be ETs, or lab environment, military base or lab environment, and there can be ETs also present. For instance, you can even have an ET abduction where you're taken and brought back by ETs, but they bring you to a facility that's an underground base with humans present, or you have an onboard ship alien abduction and there's human military present.
Right.
Okay. And then you can be taken by military and brought back by ETs. I call those handoff events, where they hand you over to the ETs. You can be taken by ETs and handed over to military and brought back home by the military. So in other words, if at any point there's covert humans involved in your case, harassment, surveillance, monitoring, befriending you, and or involved in the abduction event at any point, that makes you a MiLab in my research.
All right.
Okay?
All right. I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Melinda Leslie, when we come back, will get into her own extreme experiences that she has had. And some of these are really weird, including one that happened after a radio show. Yes. Melinda Leslie, all night long on Spaced Out Radio, MiLabs, right after this.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time to do so. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across the continent and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives. We have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Only thing I ask for in return is hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Noctiflorus. Noctiflorus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Tonight we are talking about military abductions. Are they real? Are they happening? Are they extreme nightmares? Or are they just inquisitive abductions? Melinda Leslie, 30 years in the industry of investigating UFOs and government cover-ups, including MiLab, is here. Melinda, welcome back.
Hey there. It's a good thing if I unmute.
Yes.
You can hear me better when I unmute. Okay. Hi, everybody.
It.
Yeah. Now, Dave, just, I know I hate talking about my experiences.
I know you do. I know.
It's all hard for all
so
abductees. You know that. It's hard for abductees to talk about their own stuff. You feel like it's very private. There's always this idea of with the ET ones of feeling like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about. That's a very common trait amongst, many traits of abductees. And also with the military ones, then there's the added, threats that happen during the experience in some cases, and in my case, that happened more than once. Now, Dave, I agreed with him to share at least one of the experiences, and if time permits, we'll get into a second one. And the one that he asked me to share first is actually one of the most difficult ones. But I've talked about it before. So now I guess I'll just get right into it, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just get right into it.
Okay. Now, just so everyone also knows, my talking about my experience is not like, oh, I've had this happen. I hate talking about it, as I just said. Secondly, my experiences when I share them is also the things that have happened to me have happened to other abductees or very similar. They're not that unusual amongst people who've had the reabduction scenario. Now, again, MiLab is not just the reabduction, it's the harassment and surveillance and the monitoring and everything else that I talked about before the last break. But but it can work up into this. And it actually, too, it's worth noting real quick that the research actually even goes beyond these kinds of experiences into people getting recruited into covert programs and into the secret space program and et cetera, even though there are cases out there, like I said, that are not legitimate. There are people that are. And most of the people who've had like what we call a super soldier scenario, most of the really good ones don't want to go public at all. Like, not at all. I've worked with quite a few, and they don't desire to be public. Yeah. And so, it can evolve into that level of involvement. But it starts with people being an alien abductee and then targeted for a variety of reasons. Now, I'm going to, if there's time, like I said, to share both of these experiences. What may be a little unique about me is I have a lot of conscious memory of my experiences, and I've been through a lot of hypnotic regression. A good hypnotic regression therapist just helps you get in a relaxed state that allows you to remember your own stuff. And so they just lead you through that, you remembering your own stuff. There's no magic or anything to it. It just gets you in a relaxed, very calm state to be able to do that. And also you trusting that person to keep you moving, through an event. But so this first experience was initially a tremendous amount of conscious memory and then regression. Now, it also involves someone else. It involves another well-known abductee who's been very public, Misha Johnston. And in this experience, Misha and I both had a lot of conscious memory immediately, and then we also had separate, but over the years, hypnotic regressions. Myself by two different regression therapists, and she had help with it with at least two different regression therapists over the years. But we mostly started out with a lot of conscious memory. And because someone else was involved in the experience with me, I have a witness. She's my witness, and I'm hers. And we also had a lot of physical evidence. Now, this is not a visual medium right now, although, Dave, if you're able to put them on YouTube at some point during like the next break, I can send you some pictures, I can give them to you in Messenger, and if you can put them into Messenger and you want to put them up, we can do that. I have pictures of the evidence and one of the ETs we saw also in the experience. And so I'm able to give you a couple of those things. But anyway, so going back to, as you just said, it was after a radio program. I heard you say that, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm surprised you remembered that. We had it in notes somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe you knew that, because I don't even talk about that part that much. But hang on, I'm taking a quick swallow because I need to, hang on, a little cotton mouth.
That's okay.
Okay, here we go. So, yeah, now this is a whole, there's many levels of completely unbelievable about this thing. But this is, I'm going to just give it to you guys straightforward as it happened from a combination of a lot of conscious memory and some regressive work for both of us. So, and I know if Misha was on with us right now, she would agree with everything I'm going to say. There's only a few points where we'd have minor differences really, and not, we've talked about it extensively over the years. So I know we're in agreement here. So we were both on, believe it or not, we were both on Coast to Coast radio program the night that this happened. So this happened immediately in the evening after we were on that program. I had gone to, she lived in, I was living in Southern California. I'm now in Sedona, Arizona, but I was living in Southern California in the Corona del Mar area. Misha lived down in Carlsbad at the time. And she had an apartment in the Carlsbad, just above San Diego area. Okay. And we had met, or I had met at a conference when Art Bell used to host Coast to Coast. He retired 2 different times. The first time he retired was a period of about 2 or 3 years. And there were 2 or 3 hosts that filled in during that time. One of those hosts that covered it for at least 2 years was a gentleman by the name of Mike Siegel. So if you're an old-time Art Bell listener, and you might remember that period of time when Mike Siegel hosted before Art came back. And then there was Hilly Rose and even Whitley Strieber, hosting it at times. Okay. And so I had met Mike at a conference, and he said, I want to have you on. And so, and I said, well, I have this partner I'm working on research with. Misha and I had intentions at the time of writing a book together on this. And so and then we were both supposed to be at a major UFO conference shortly after this event, a week later, yeah. And so, or maybe 2 weeks. No, I think it's a week later. Anyways, so we were going to prepare stuff for our table, our exhibit table at the conference, and as well as we were going to be on Coast to Coast with Mike Siegel. Okay, there you go. I had been on once or twice before that, back with Art Bell. I think twice back with Art Bell. And then here I am with Mike. So, okay. So, but Misha went on with me. At my suggestion, because I said, look, we're working on this project together. We're working on a book. Would it be cool if she came on with me? And they were like, yeah, great. Okay, so we go. So we did the radio program. It went really well. We had a few technical problems, and it went well. Okay. Then we go to bed. I am awoken by noise. Now, at the time, Misha had a roommate in this apartment, but that person was out of town and was supposed to be out of town for the whole weekend. In fact, for 3 days. And then I was staying she had a futon sofa couch in her living room, futon bed, but, couch, in the living room. And she was in the master bedroom. Okay. And I was awoken by noises at the front door that sounded like, and as I'm woken up by it, I'm thinking, oh, it's the roommate came home, canceled her trip or whatever. She's, supposed to go out of town with a boyfriend or something. And she's trying to get in the front door and fiddling with the lock because it's dark out. And they had a main door handle and lock and a deadbolt. And I heard this, and then it got worse. And next thing I know, the front door is thrown open. And again, I'm, 20 or 25 feet away on the futon sofa bed. And in come a couple of guys wearing all black with helmets on, that reminded me of either like a flight helmet or like MP security guard helmets who wear like a little white helmet thing like that. Right. And yet they were all in black. And then there was one guy all in camouflage, military camouflage, and he's standing at the door, and it's clear that he's got like a headset on and he's talking to someone. 2 of the guys come over to me, and then I see like 2 more guys in black go down the hallway. I'm assuming they're going, and of course they weren't, they're going to Misha. And by the way, everyone, there was evidence to the break-in, to the door, extensive evidence that I have photos of, and as well as some witnesses in the complex to some weird stuff happening. I can go over that later. Witnesses in the complex to some stuff happening, and an electrical malfunction thing that was also going on with this, and as well as the landlord had replaced foam weather stripping on the doors just like a week before this happened, and had repainted the door jamb. So it had foam weather stripping that was brand new and a repainted door jamb. So that was all fresh and new just from like a week before. So the damage afterwards, which was discovered like the next day, and even more damage over about a 3-day period, that we realized, not that they damaged it further, we just kept finding more wrong with the door. But all that and the door frame was done, during this event. And we had lots of pictures, and we had a friend who was a private eye at the time come and investigate it. And he said, these are pros to get in the door lock and the deadbolt. They pulled the wood framing of the door out like with a crowbar, had gotten in there and actually torn the wood apart in order to loosen the door enough to be able to push it in. And he said, this is pros that would get in this way. And pros, but the pros that also don't care how much damage they leave. They're just going to break through everything. They just want to get in. And anyway, so going back to, so I'm laying there on the sofa bed, and two guards come over to me, and I'm still kind of waking up. I mean, this all happened very, very fast. And next thing I know, I'm stuck in the neck with a device that I now believe, after doing a lot of research over the years, immediately following this and for a number of years, was called a sticky shocker. It's a form of what we would now know as like a taser. But it's a thing that releases with like wires attached to it. It has prongs that will go in and attack your nervous system and cause you to nervous spasm. So it's not like a taser where you're in the frequency of it. This is a frequency, but it's a thing that actually sticks with little prongs in your neck. And so that's what I remember it looking like and everything. And I did research later to find out that there is such a thing. Okay. So it hits me in the neck, and it caused me to spasm for a second. And just like when your leg falls asleep, we've all had it happen. You've been sitting in one place for too long and you go to get up and your leg's asleep and it's really hard to walk. Okay. Well, what had happened is from like the neck down, that happened to me. So I was still conscious, but all of a sudden it was like my body was asleep, or I was having, muscle malfunction. And these two guys go to get me up, and I'm stumbling. And meanwhile, in the midst of this, I see two guys carrying Misha down the hallway out in the living room out the front door, and they're carrying her. She's passed out or so out of it, they're actually carrying her. One guy, under her armpits and, lifting her, and the other one getting her under the knees or, legs. And kind of in a swayed, position, but they're carrying her out. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the guy at the door in camouflage signals like, come here. And I thought it was to me. Now it probably was to the two guys, taking me, but he signals like, come here. And I thought it meant me. So, and these guys had set me down because I was still conscious and functioning. And I started to walk towards the guy because I thought he motioned to me to come to him. And Misha had this small glass top coffee table at the time that was on these brass legs that came up. They kind of look like horns, like it's just four curved brass pieces, and then the glass sat on top of it. I start approaching him, and my leg hits the glass table, and I'm like, oh shoot, that's the glass coffee table that I'm like starting to trip over. So I turn because I'm tripping, I'm falling, and if I fall forward, I'm going to fall on a glass coffee table with metal pronged legs. Not good, Either the legs are going to impale me or the glass, And so, and it all happened really fast, but I turned to turn away. Well, because my body wasn't responding well and functioning well, I fell back hard on her living room floor. And I think that the two guys helping me, or one was kind of had me by the arm, went to catch me, but I pulled away from him he had my arm, and I think I pulled away from him when I hit the coffee table. And so at that point, I think the other one's rushing up behind me, but I'm dead weight, bam, on my butt, and then my shoulders, and then the back of my head. and I think I had just enough strength in my neck and stuff that I caught my head from really hitting the floor. But I was, it was like being dropped on the floor because I didn't have control of my body. My body was still kind of spasming. I could stand on my legs, but it was like I felt like my whole body was asleep, like when your leg or arm falls asleep. So I go bam on the floor. Well, it turned out she lived in an upstairs apartment. The guy below her, the next day, came to her, or maybe not the next day, within a couple days, came to her and said, "What happened the other night? Did your bookcase fall down?" He thought he'd been in her apartment. They were friends. He lived below her. I mean, just, neighbor, but he had been there and knew she had this big bookcase and credenza, media, unit, television on and everything. And he thought that had fallen over in the middle of the night because he said it was like, 2 in the morning or 3, like 3. And he's awoken by what he thought was the bookcase falling down. No, it wasn't the bookcase and the entertainment unit falling down. It was Melinda's rear end. I hit the floor hard, and that's what he heard. So we had a witness that heard that it had woken him up, and, it was me. Anyway, so, and we didn't know till the next day, I had knocked the glass off the top of the legs on the coffee table when I hit it, and it had cracked, and one of the legs was bent. Like obviously some of my weight, of my leg bent the leg of the table. So it was bent and broken, and the glass was broken. And so going back to, so these guys, the 2 guys, help get, like, the guy in camouflage instructs them or whatever. And you can tell he's the whole time talking to someone on a headset. And they help me up off the floor. And one of them gets under with my arm around him, like, draped over him, and kind of helps me walk. And she had these cement stairs going up to the second story there, and helps me down the cement stairs. She lived at the very end of an apartment complex building that had would normally have lights all along the side of the building at each door. Like, let's say if there's 3 upstairs and 3 downstairs, or 4, maybe 4 upstairs, 4 downstairs, at least 3 apartment doors. And then there was a brick wall and some wrought iron trim and lights and big globes about every 10 feet along this wall. Probably there were at least 4 of those. And it turned out later that the landlord ended up, a couple days later, had a complaint from all the people on that end of the building that the lights on the building and the lights along the fence weren't working.
Oh, my goodness.
And she went thinking there was a wiring problem. They had an electrical person there to work on them. And she, they thought, okay, the electricity is out for some reason on the fence line and the wall, which is the same thing. Yeah.
Melinda, I'm going to get you to hold on because we're going to hop out for a break here at the bottom of the hour. Melinda Leslie is going to continue her story about one of her MiLab abductions. It's getting freaky, people. It's getting weird. It's getting crazy. And Melinda's going to go very in-depth in the next half hour on Spaced Out Radio, so stay tuned.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
If you like it hot, real hot. Then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby. And tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your night to spend it with dear old Dave here. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Having a few tech issues right there. We're building it back up. But it'll be up and running again very, very soon. But when you're there, rock out to Bumblefoot and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Hey, do me a favor, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, as well as my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And tonight, our guest, Melinda Leslie, 30 years a UFO researcher. She's an experiencer. We're talking MiLabs tonight, and she's going to continue with her story about being taken by government officials right out of her home. Melinda, welcome back.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I was saying they took me down the cement stairs from the second-story apartment, and the lights along the fence that were in these big glass, I don't know, it's like foot in diameter, opaque, glass domes, along, and they were on like pillars, and then the fence line was pillar bricks, and in between the pillars of brick was wrought iron, and then the walkway, of course, and then the side of the building that had the upstairs and downstairs apartments. They were, of course, at both ends, stairways that went up to where the apartments are. Upstairs, and then downstairs entrance, kind of platforms for each apartment. And each of those had a light, and there was at least 3 upstairs, 3 downstairs, and there may have been 4 and 4, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, but all those lights were out, and it turned out that the landlord had investigated and brought in an electrician thinking there was an electrical problem, that the residents on that end had said the lights along the fence line and the big open vacant lot on the other side of the fence and along the building were out. And the electrician came and discovered, no, the wiring's fine. Someone had gone through, no joke, Dave, no joke. And if Misha was here, she'd absolutely verify this. The landlord ended up questioning all the neighbors, all the apartment residents, because someone had gone through and turned each bulb so they were in their sockets, just not screwed in all the way, and all they need to be was screwed in. And the electrician figured that out, that the bulbs were just loose, and once they were tightened, all the lights along the fence, which had to be at least 4, maybe even like 5 or 6 along the fence, at least 4, and the 3 or 4 upstairs and 3 or 4 downstairs, so we're talking a whole bunch of lighting fixtures. They had gone through and literally unscrewed every bulb. And so she was questioning everyone. Did you unscrew the bulbs? Did kids in there? Anybody see anybody? She couldn't figure out who would have gone through and unscrewed all the light bulbs. Well, these guys did, apparently, to have the dark, that end of the building be dark and covered of darkness. I mean, because there was no lighting, a big, giant, great big, like double open vacant field next door. So, yeah, and so that was another piece of the evidence. Anyway, so what happened is, and she's at one end, so we have to go down this long pathway, and I'm they were carrying her, and I'm walking with kind of slung over the guy, and they take us to, and what we remember it as being is a large van, like econo van, if you will. No windows on the side or back. A door on the back with maybe, inset windows, of course.
Right.
And it was a matte black, like really dull, almost like old black paint, matte black van. And the back doors are open. And then there was at least one or two what looked like motorcycle cops. Now, I think this was all like, van pulled over by cops was like the cover. Okay. So there were like two motorcycle cops. Now, I'm not saying they were real motorcycle cops. They were, obviously decoy by, base, whatever, okay. Or they paid off cops. I wouldn't rule that out, but okay. So here we go. And there was at least one that I remember, and I'd have to ask Misha. I think we maybe remember two. And so it looked like maybe the van had been pulled over, in other words, cover story, right? And we're laid in the back of the van. And what I remember is there kind of being a console on the inside faced sideways with some technical equipment, and a guy got in there and sat at it in like a really low chair. And like two of the guys in black got in with us, and now we're talking three. And then there was, I guess, the driver was the guy in camouflage, and then another guy in the other front passenger seat. So I think that accounts for all the guys, although I'm not certain of that. But we knew that there were at least two guys in the back with us. There was a driver and a front passenger seat. And at that point, now, so far, the only drugging, I didn't have any drugging. I just had the thing in the neck, which caused like
sounds like drugging, though. Sounds like drugging.
Yeah, but so far, I don't think I was drugged. Misha, I think maybe had been that she was drugged in the room, but I wasn't. I was just shot with this device that, because I was still very conscious. But at the point when I'm laid down in the back of the van and then they close the doors, we start slowly pulling away, is I vaguely remember either something on like a gloved hand coming down over my face and or like a cloth soaked in something, okay? So at this point, something is put over me, and the only way I can breathe is I have to breathe it because it's over my nose and mouth, okay? So I breathe in this stuff and eventually knock out, okay? But it didn't take right away, and I don't think they even did it right away. I think we were pulling away. We maybe drove a block away before they did this. And I didn't pass out right away, and I remember going and us getting on the freeway. Now, originally, there was a little debate of whether we went from where she lived, okay, in Carlsbad, because then that'd be the 5 freeway, whether we're going this direction or is it the 405, but you know what I mean. Okay, so whether we're going north or whether we're going south, but over much consideration by both of us and our regressions, I think we both determined we headed south. Because we were trying to figure out, did we go to Pendleton, which would have been from right there, like a half hour north, or 45 minutes or a half hour south would be maybe Miramar. And the more we thought about it over time, I think we're both fairly clear we ended up going to Miramar or something similar, something associated with it. But anyway, so there we go. Miramar Naval Air, for anyone who knows the Southern California, San Diego area. And of course, Pendleton, Camp Pendleton, same area. Okay, so we get on the freeway and we pass out. So I remember getting on the freeway, so does she, so we pass out. Next thing I know, I'm coming to because the van has stopped and the driver is speaking to someone at a security gate, and it sounds like 2 military guys talking, and I can't hear everything that's said, but it's clear that he's like saying something and the guy saying, yes, sir, all right, whatever. Sounds very military. So I think he's at a security entrance and he's getting the okay to go in. And then I think at some point, I think Misha does too, I think at some point there's like another security gate where this happens again. So I think that happens twice. Eventually the van comes to a stop, and this whole time I'm becoming a little more conscious, like I'm coming off something, Eventually it comes to a stop. The back doors open up. Camouflage guys come to the back, and we're escorted out of the van. We're escorted into what looks like, so across kind of a, paved parking area, up some stairs, into some glass doors, entrance to a building.
Were they armed?
Probably, although maybe not. I'm not clear about. Yeah, I would say if they were, we didn't see it. No guns were pointed at us or anything at this point.
Okay.
Now we're taken in the front door of this building, but I remember like there's a front, like imagine like a big foyer area, like you've entered an office building or something, And so you walk in, and certain distance just in front of you, there's a wall going across, right? Okay. She's taken to the right and I'm taken to the left. So at that point, she's escorted one direction, I'm escorted the other. And I remember we both kind of went, wait. And they were like, no, just come with us, just follow me. And then there was a guard in camouflage who had my arm. And I just sent you some pictures that if you're putting them on YouTube, there's these thumb and fingerprint on my arm from bruises that were photographed a week after the event, but I'd received them that night. And what happened is this guy had me by the arm, and he said, walk with me, stay with me. If I stop, you stop. If I go, you go. Just stay right with me. And he had like this death grip on my arm. I'm not surprised it left bruises because he was like holding my arm very tightly. And he was in camouflage. And so he escorts me, and we start down a utility stair. Well, no big deal. But what was interesting, this building from the front, we went up a couple of steps to get into it, but it appeared definitely from the outside to be a one-story building. But when he takes me, now a lot of buildings have basements and stuff, so that's not a big deal, but he takes me into this one-story building, and we start down a stairwell. And we're going down, concrete stairs, metal railings, very utilitarian. And we go down and down and down. I would say we went down, if a flight of stairs is one set, then a turn, and then another, like set, platform set, then I would say we went easily down 6 flights, okay? So that could be like the equivalent of 3 stories, okay? It's hard to say for sure, but at least 6, maybe more, 6 or 8. We kept, we'd go, and then there'd be a platform and turn, da 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 da, platform, da 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 da, kept going. And so eventually we get down and through like a utility door into a hallway. They always have fluorescent lighting, linoleum floor, anyways. And he walks me in this hallway. And then we turn a corner, and there's a wooden door, and he opens it, and there's this, what looks like a small office. It looks like it's an old wooden desk, very, very utilitarian, very, standard military issue kind of, wood desk, and a chair, and I have a little vague memory if I was actually sat in the chair or if I was leaning against the desk right here. Part of me goes, or maybe I did both. Maybe both are true, where I leaned against the desk, and then they eventually had me sit in this chair. But he exits, and a guy comes in who's dressed in military uniform, kind of. He has, I would call it dress Marine, as far as dark pants with like a stripe down the side. He has a white T-shirt on, and then what would be a brass buttoned military semi what I would say dress or a little more formal looking Marines kind of jacket, but it's just open. Like he's just got the T-shirt on underneath and the jacket's not buttoned, but it's, you know, military uniform is just the top is open and I can see the T-shirt, which is white. And he had dark hair, kind of salt and pepper. I remember what he looked like well. Fit, tall, fairly good looking, salt and pepper, middle age, you know, kind of thing. And he comes in and first he kind of paces, seems kind of pissed off. And he goes, do you know the problems you've caused? Do you know what a problem you are? And he's going on like this. And it goes on, and long story short, he kind of starts threatening me. Now, we had just done the radio program, right, hours before this, you know. We'd finished it, you know, whatever, 2 hours before this, you know. We're in dead sleep after getting off the air. You know? And so this has got to be 3, maybe 4 in the morning, something like that, you know. And he's like, do you know the problems you've caused? I'm like, what? You know. And I'm still kind of waking up over whatever they knocked me out with. I'm like, what? And he says, you know, you've been a real headache and, you know, whatever. And it's been all these problems. And anyways, like I said, it's threatening, but it also didn't feel legitimate. It just felt like, what is he talking about? You know, what are we going to do about you? You know, this kind of thing, and, you know, and we can't have you going on radio. That was one thing they definitely said. We can't have you, you know, going on radio about this. You can't be doing that. You know, and I'm like, what? You know, okay. And then
Yet here you are.
What?
Yet here you are.
Yeah. Well, I've done lots since then. You know, I was worried for a while to do any radio, go any public. You know, people think, you know, that's a good point you just brought up, and I know we were just joking, but people say, did the threats ever stop you? Has it stopped anyone? Yes. Okay. Some abductees get the threats and warnings and pull out of the field altogether. With me, did it ever fully stop me? No, but it caused a hesitation, and it made me very fearful of doing any radio or anything for a period of time after that. Same with Misha. Now, she then after this had additional things happen in her life to the point where she ended up pulling out of the UFO field altogether for about 10 years because it got so bad for her. And this was kind of the start of thing after thing that got bad for her. Now there's a reason why with her background, there's a long story there and I don't want to get into it right now, but there's a reason why we understand now that she had more happen with them not wanting her to talk or investigate or get any help or anything. I did not have that same reason that she did. So with me, it was threatening for a while, but it didn't stop me. Every time they've done this, it hasn't. And I tell people, if you have this kind of stuff happen or anything, you know, along these lines, people say, how do I make this stop? How do they leave me alone? And the one thing been proven to have them leave you alone is go public. Go public, talk about it a lot. Do radio, do interviews, get written about, you know, talk to researchers, because the more you talk about it, seems like they start to realize, okay, the intimidation is not working. It's not silencing you. And if they do anything, they're at risk of being exposed because you're talking about it. So it seems like the more public I am now, the less I'm likely to have something happen. And that's just been proven over, you know, that experience was I tell you that experience. I just was looking up the date. It was August 20th, 2000 for that one. So that the one I'm giving, you know, one in the middle of telling that experience happened, that we were on the radio program August 20th of 2000. Actually, I think we were on the 19th, because I remember on the air telling Mike Siegel, the 19th of August just happens to be my birthday. And I said, it's my birthday. And Mike said, oh, happy birthday. So I was actually on the radio show on my birthday. So, and then so it was the early morning of the 20th that we were having this happen. Okay. So going back to what I was saying. So he said, for us to impress upon you the seriousness of this moment. The serious, this is what this guy in his military jacket and pants with a white T-shirt underneath is saying to me. He goes, for you to understand the seriousness of what we're saying, there's someone I want you to meet. And he said it with a tone that creeped me out. Like,
all right, we only got 3 minutes.
He was already threatening he was already threatening my life and stuff right then. And then he said, for you to understand how serious we are, there's someone I want you to meet. And I'm like, what the hell? What does he mean? And I'm kind of freaked out. And he leaves the room, and a guard comes in and says, come with me. And that guard takes me out of that room into a door in this hallway we're on, just adjacent to it, like not very far, maybe 10 feet, maybe, into another, basic utility door. We go in this door, and I'm in a much larger room, and there's what looks like an exam table. And of course, then that's like, oh shit, now what? It's like like you'd see in a doctor's office, something. Although it didn't have nice, clean, protective paper on it, But I'm like, oh shit, now what?
Oh, now you're gonna make me hit the swear button.
We got a break. What?
I had to hit the swear button there for you. Can't have that.
Sorry, man.
That's
sorry.
Okay.
I'll try not
That's
to do
okay.
That.
We've got about 2 minutes. Who came into the office? Who came in?
Okay. Well, no, a guard came in, escorted me out and into this other room, and he says, sit on there. He said, get on the table. And I'm like, I think I was like, lay down. He said, no, just sit. And so I sit on the table, and I'm just sitting on the end like you would, waiting for the doctor to come in. I'm thinking a doctor's going to come in. But I'm like, oh, shit, to impress upon how serious they are, they're about to do who knows what to me with some doctor. I'm like, and it's very frightening. And this guard steps back by the door. I think he remains in the room. But all of a sudden, the door opens from someone on the outside. But I think it's the same guy in the military jacket. Anyways, but the door opens, and I see someone holding the door open, like they're motioning somebody else into the room. And so again, I'm expecting like a doctor or something to walk in, and all of a sudden, or higher brass, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, what walks in the room is a big reptilian alien.
Yes.
And now I had heard of that before this experience in 2000, but I had not seen that in any of my experiences. So
and on that note,
it was like,
I want you to hold right there, because we're going to continue with the reptilian alien. And when we come back, we're going to get into, after this story, I want to get into the Wilson documents with you as well.
Oh, okay. Okay,
because,
we'll do that.
Oh, yeah. We got lots to cover in hour 3. Melinda Leslie, our guest, is going the distance with us tonight. Jam-packed. Spaced Out Radio tonight. MiLabs. Wilson documents. UFOs. The conspiracy continues here on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned. We'll be back with hour 3 next.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today. We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning us on in. Yes, even you, Leon. Thank you so much for joining us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Noctiflorus. Noctiflorus is our password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We have Melinda Leslie here, 30-year experiencer, plus ufologist. She's one of the best in the business. We're breaking down MiLabs tonight. And right before the break, Melinda was telling us this incredible story about how she was in a bunker, military bunker, being debriefed, and all of a sudden, an alien showed up. Melinda, continue on with the reptilian.
Okay. You guys, I really do hate telling this. And it's really weird because it's been a long time since I've gone into detail about this particular account. You know, it's been a while. So it's just weird because I've talked about some other ones recently, but not this one. Okay. So going on to, so again, after the guard opens the door, escorts me in, says, sit here on the end of this, exam table. And I got this the hardest part also to talk about, Dave. I think you've heard this experience before, so you know what I'm about to get into. And he steps back, and like I said, someone from the outside hallway opens up the same door to the room and is holding it open for someone to come in, and turns kind of the corner into the door and then comes right at me is this big reptilian guy. Now he's like a linebacker with the 49ers or the Rams, or imagine football, American football, obviously, linebacker. Anyway, so big guy, broad-shouldered. I'd put it, I was sitting down, but he was large, like well over 6'5", maybe 7 foot. Like I have a nephew who's 6'8", so I'd say like that, or, just, 7 foot or just shy. And predominantly green, somewhat of a tail behind him, had like black claws, kind of hands, but with these, like I said, kind of like black claws on the ends of the fingers, and kind of a protruding snout, not real far, not like alligator or even, more just lizard-like, or even snake, but a little bit more protruding than that, maybe. Kind of a square jaw line, little bit of some teeth showing, eyes with vertical slits, kind of yellow in color, kind of a broad, wide nose, a crest that started in his forehead and went down the back of his head, kind of protruding above the eyes line, eyebrow area kind of protruded, bony eyebrow area, pronounced bones in the cheekbones kind of. And, so I have a drawing done by highly skilled artist David Chase of it. I was just trying to find it on my phone or online to share it. So David could put it, at least for the YouTube folks to see. Eventually I will. He might be able to add it or something. We'll see. So anyway, this is now staying in front of me. And, of course, my heart's pounding. And I had heard. Now, I do many disassociative things in my experiences. One thing I'll sometimes do is put on, like, kind of to step out of the emotional part, get into, like, researcher mode, like, kind of get in a state of mind, like, I got to remember this is important, and I kind of did that. So, like, how I got out of the immense fear feeling right at the moment was to go, I've heard of this before. Oh my God, it's a reptilian. I've heard this account from other people, but I had never seen one. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having a reptilian. I always thought those, prior to that moment in 2000, I always thought those accounts were kind of a little questionable, and I'm like, oh shit, now, probably going to have to hit the button again. Sorry. I have to keep my language good. I apologize. So I was just like, oh, wow, I'm seeing what I've heard other people say, but I'm also scared to death. So I'm trying to use that as a way to deal with the moment. And as he stands there in front of me, now I'll tell you guys this, what I'm about to share, I'll tell you what actually happened in the moment. And this is where regressions and the conscious memory really help, is he pushed me back on the exam table and leaned over me and into my face and did what is common in abductions called mind stare, and looked in my eyes and eventually backed off. He had me pushed down on the table, but backed off and then stood there. So that's what actually happened. Okay. But in the moment, this is what was projected at me, is he pushes me down on the table with a lot of force, proceeds to like climb up on me, and what can I say? Basically a rape scene, or at least what seemed like that. And with these black claws that he had, now you guys, this is all just a mental projection at the time. So he's projecting this image. So I want everyone to know, I wasn't actually physically hurting anyway, but he will push me down with one hand, took the other one, sliced me from like my neck down below my abdomen, like just, or from my chest down, like he took the nail and just, his fingernail, his claw, and sliced me open. And I think in the moment that I am being brutally murdered, okay, he rips one of my arms off, literally grabs it, and with so much strength pulls it out of the socket, and blood's going everywhere, and I'm screaming and yelling. Now, next thing is, at some point I realize I'm not feeling this. The visuals are all there, but I'm like, I'm not experiencing any pain. I'm not feeling this. This isn't real. And in that moment I go, this isn't real. This isn't real. This would hurt, as soon as he sliced me open, and I go, this would hurt. And he, like I said, ripping an arm out of its socket, where I go, and I go, I'm not feeling this. And that's when I go, this isn't real. This isn't real. There's no pain. This is just a visual. And at that point, it suddenly like dissolves kind of, or whatever. And next thing I know, I'm just pushed down on the table by him, and he's just looking at me. And I'm like, and then I look at my arm, I look at my stomach, I'm like looking at everything, like arms intact, stomach's intact. I'm like checking myself out. I'm okay. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And at that point, he backs up from the table, and I kind of prop up on my elbows, because again, I kind of did to look at my stomach and make sure I was okay. And I'm in shock, because I'm like going, oh my God. And I'm even trying to think, did he really rape me? No, I don't think so. I don't think I think none of that. And then, but he stands back, and he kind of does this thing like tilting his head one way and the other way, like looking at me. And all the time he made weird noises. There was this hissing thing kind of between his teeth, and some grunts and weird noises. And he stands back, and he kind of gives me this, I don't know if you can hear that through the phone, but like piss, And I'm like, like, it's almost like the feeling like I got from him doing that was the, regret of not really doing it, or, whatever. I'm like, what? That was weird. Okay. And the whole thing is weird. I understand. And then he backs off and exits the room, and the door closes behind him. And there's still this guard on the other side of the room, just standing there like parade rest the whole time, monitoring, And he won't look at me, and I'm just like going, what the heck just happened? And then in through the door comes the guy with the open jacket and the t-shirt, and the guy who had interrogated me before and threatened me. And he comes in, and he comes up to me, and he says, and I'm always called Miss Leslie in these events. He says, Miss Leslie, he goes, now you see how serious we were. He said, you continue to pursue this subject, or go public, because again, it was a threat. We'd done the radio show, and we'd done coast to coast, And so he goes, you pursue this or go further, and next time that will be real. Next time we'll let him, meaning the reptilian, next time we'll let him do what he wants.
Interesting.
And he's like, do you understand? And I'm nodding like, yeah, I understand. And just then, now the door had closed behind him. Someone came to the door, and the door started to open, like someone came in the door maybe to talk to him, across the room. And he had been standing right in front of me, and I'm sitting up on the table with my legs hanging over, like on the exam table. And when he turned, he stepped with one leg away, and the other leg was left trailing behind him, just like if you imagine if you step and you kind of half turn, like what, and the other leg is still there. And I had this moment right then of thinking his leg's right there, his back's to me, and it's sticking out, and my leg's hanging down, and I'm like 6 inches away from it. If I swing my leg to the right, I can knock his leg out from under him. And I had this brief moment of like rebelliousness. Like I was, can I say the P word?
Well, if you're pissed off, sure.
Pissed off. Yeah. Okay. I can say, okay, good. I was pissed off. So I go to swing my leg and hit his. Okay. And I'm doing it fast because I realize he's just turned. He's going to turn back in a minute. So I'm like, think quick. Boom. As hard as I can, I'm going to kick his leg out and at least kick it out from under him, or get him when he's not looking, and I'll just one up like, I got even or whatever. Just a momentary, Melinda asserts herself like, this guy was buff. I was in better shape back then, but not that good. No, I'm not getting anywhere, but at the same time, it's like, I can knock his leg out from under it. So I go to swing. Well, this guy had eyes on the back of his head. Let's just say he probably had some really good martial arts training, because he turns, swings his arm down, and blocks my leg. I mean, I swung so fast, but he completely turned around, swung his arm down, and stopped my leg with his arm. And so I'm swinging my leg from the knee down. From the knee down, I'm swinging as hard as I can. He turns, and the side of his wrist hits my calf. As I'm swinging up, he's coming down with full force, or at least, block a maneuver, karate chop, and it hurt.
I bet.
And so I have a picture of bruises on my leg that are a combination. One giant bruise is from that moment, and the other bruises are from when I fell on the coffee table and kicked the leg of the coffee table when I broke it. So I had lots of bruising on my leg between falling and breaking the coffee table and swinging my leg and him karate chopping it. So he blocked it, and then he just looked at me like, because he did it like an on-back maneuver, like he's just his training, just boom, stop it. And then he looked at me like, I can't believe you just did that. He didn't say that, but you could tell the look on his face was like, I can't believe you just did that. And there was even like he was trying not to smile, like he wanted to look like he was mad at me or something, but he was kind of smiling like, wow, I can't believe you almost did that. I mean, he blocked me. He
Melinda, for the sake of time.
Yeah, I'll speed this up.
After because I want to get into, the Wilson documents as well.
Then he just goes like, he's just like shaking his head like, I can't believe you just did that. And then he said, all right, we're done here. I'm done or whatever. Cause he was just, and I think he walked away just like shaking his head like I almost pulled that off. I didn't, but like he was just like, wow, and the way he kind of almost like smiled was like, wow, he was, that I would even think to do that or act rebellious, given the situation. And, anyway, so he walks out the room, the guard comes over, I'm escorted out of the room. And et cetera. I think, someone asked something about, am I going to get naked or something? But I think when I was in the other little desk area, I had undressed. I think they took me back there to get dressed. I think came out in one of the regressions that at one point I was. Right. But anyways, it almost doesn't matter. But so then they escort me down the hallway. We go up the stairs, around and around, round, round, up, out the door, back into the back of the van. They had us lay down and told us to remain laying down, but I don't think we were drugged again. No, we were drugged again in the van. And next thing I know, I wake up in the morning, very sore, very stiff. I get up, Misha gets up. We talk we instantly start talking about we had something happen last night. And then the living room was a mess. The coffee table was broken. And later that day, we realized the damage to the front door and the door frame and all that. So we realized something had happened because we had all this evidence. And Misha's like, Melinda, they just painted that thing a week ago and it was all ripped up, the door frame and stuff. And then, like I said, the coffee table was broken. And Misha's like, did you get up during the night? I go, no. And she goes, are you sure? Because you had to have fallen on the coffee table to break it that way. And I'm like, so that's what kind of helped us to start, recovering a little bit of memory. Now, what happened to her when we were separated before going in the building, she was taken down a bunch of stairs, like on the opposite, like we were in this front foyer. So on one end is a hallway on the left end where I'm taken. She's taken way to the right where there was another hallway and other stairs. Actually, now that I say that, I think maybe she was taken down an elevator. Maybe. I'd have to ask her. Now that I think about that, maybe it was an elevator, that she was taken down an elevator, but I was taken down a stairwell. But anyways, she comes out in a hallway and is taken in her. She doesn't have an office first like I did. I had the office with the wooden desk and then was taken from there into the other room. She was just taken into a room that had an exam table right away. Now, we thought maybe she was taken in the same exam table room, and when they had me in the office, they had her in the exam table. But now there's a lot of reasons where we think maybe it was two separate rooms. Okay, she's in there, and they threaten her. Well, actually, they don't threaten her. Right away, they bring in the reptilian. And it seems like it's a different one than I had. So they bring a reptilian that looks a little different than mine. He looks at her face, and in Misha's case, her whole memory is that suddenly she found herself standing. She has two grown sons with families. At the time, there were just the two grown sons, and one of them had a new baby who I think was maybe a year old at the time. One son was a little down on his luck or between jobs or something, and so he was temporarily for like a year living with the other son. Okay. And she had, and then the one son had the baby, year-old baby, and, or 10-month-old, I think, whatever, and his wife. So she's suddenly like standing in their living room. They're there like watching TV, and there's the two sons, the baby, the wife, everybody's there. And all of a sudden, I'm just going to quote her, she said it was like ninjas on ropes came through the door and all the windows, breaking in through the windows, guys in black jumpsuits, like they swung down on ropes, broken through the windows, guys came through the door, and she proceeded to watch, 10, 15 of these guys all in black like ninjas proceed to murder her whole family in front of her. Ew. They had like knives, and then they were cutting the family up, and there's blood and everything. But this is the thing. She said she's watching this, like she's watching her family be brutally murdered in front of her. Very gory. But suddenly she goes, wait a second, I can't hear them. They're screaming and I don't hear anything. And that's when she thought, remember the old commercials? It's not live, it's Memorex.
Yes.
Remember those on TV, the Memorex tape? It was so good it could break a glass. Okay. So she does this. This isn't live. This is Memorex. Because she goes, I don't hear them. This isn't real.
All right.
And
we got to wrap it up for this half hour. We got to wrap it up.
Okay. Well, she goes back and she's sitting on the table, and the reptilian is standing in front of her, staring in her face. And so all of that was a projected image.
Horrible.
And then the guy with the white T-shirt and the jacket comes into the room. She hadn't seen him yet. He comes in the room and says,
"Okay, I got to cut it off there because we got to go to commercial here." Melinda Leslie continues right to the top of the hour on Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate all of you taking the time for us. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. And our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can check them on out. We are doing a little work on our site right now as it is going on. And follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, we introduce Melinda Leslie. She has been giving personal first-hand account of a MiLab experience, military abduction, where she was face-to-face with an extraterrestrial. And we're going to spend just a couple more minutes on the story so she could finish up, and then we're going to get right into the UFO Admiral Wilson documents. Melinda, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, the admirable documents. Yes.
Admirable, yes.
Yeah, they are admirable documents.
Exactly.
Okay, so just to finish this, so I think I was saying that Misha was taking rooms that had the reptilian brought in. She hadn't seen the what we call the captain, the guy in the white shirt and the coat. We think it was the captain. I don't know. Maybe I think one of the other guards called him captain, so we thought he was captain. But she hadn't seen him yet, and so she's with the reptilian. This whole thing where she's thinking she's in the living room with her sons and the sons' young family, and watches
everybody's
everyone
getting
brutally murdered. Yeah, everyone's getting
right
butchered,
off the bat.
And she realizes, well, this, she can't hear it. She doesn't hear their screaming. She goes, this isn't real. This isn't live. This is Memorex. This isn't real. I can tell they're screaming, but I don't hear anything, and I would be hearing them. And so at that point, she goes, this isn't real. And at that point, the reptilian backs off and is just standing in front of her, and ends up walking out of the room. And in comes the captain. That's the first time she's seeing him, with white T-shirt and the open jacket. She saw him the same way I did. I think she said at some point he took his jacket off. Okay. But anyway, so he's in the room with her, and he says, if you continue to pursue this and look into this further and go public further, blah, 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 next time that will really happen to your family. Something will happen to your family. And that's what they said to her. So, and then she's escorted out. Again, I think they took her on an elevator. Anyways, but she goes back up. I I think in this case, I was put in the van before she was. In fact, I was. And then they bring her and they put her in the back of the van. I think we are drugged again. And then, like I said, we get up in the morning and the rest of it I already shared. So that's that whole thing.
Incredible.
And I believe the purpose was just to
intimidate,
scare the you know what out of us. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Melinda Leslie is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to switch hats here. We're going to get into ufology because there's a lot of big information that's surrounding the Wilson documents, which are these strange documents that really, really put a grasp on what the government has been looking for secretly regarding UFOs. What's the update on this?
Well, there's a brief part that I'm not at liberty to discuss. As far as, I'll say this much. There's, regarding the Wilson documents, and I'll get into the background. Are your listeners
we're pretty familiar with
it?
We're pretty familiar with the background of it. It's just, I know there's something new coming.
I've been asked not to necessarily go public with all of it. I can tell you this: there is an investigation underway. So that's as much as I can say. A very serious investigation underway, and
as to how they were
people
leaked.
Involved in the documents and people mentioned in them are being contacted at a high level. That's as much as I can say, as far as I can say publicly. And it's not that I want to be all cloak and dagger or whatever. It's that the people doing this don't want the investigation to get screwed up. Okay, so they don't want word to kill it before it's gone anywhere, before it has legs. So, and it's going to require probably at least weeks, if not months, of investigation. So, so they're saying so word doesn't get back to people and screw it up. To not get into the specifics of who's doing this or why. But there is an investigation underway, I'll say that much. And they are, looking into the various parts. I was not contacted directly. Someone else that I'm pretty good friends with was contacted, and then he asked me for my help. And I may talk to the people directly doing the investigation at some point. That has not happened yet. So here's the deal, though. It means that this is, surfacing with people looking into it and looking into it in a very serious way at a pretty high level. So we'll see where it goes. I know the full background on the documents, including how they came out, and there being the three documents. The Wilson document is the notes from the interview of Eric Davis of Admiral Wilson. So it's Eric Davis interviewing Admiral Wilson and the notes he wrote from that. And we still do not know to this day if that was recorded and the notes were generated from the recording, or if he was taking elaborate notes during the meeting, or if he had a meeting, because we know the meeting took place with them sitting in a car together, and or if he just immediately after sitting in the car wrote down everything he remembered. There's a moment that Admiral Wilson says in the document, "Oh, what is that for?" Like commenting on the fact that he either knew he was being recorded or that Eric was taking notes. So he was probably taking notes, or he might have been actually recording it. But the Wilson documents are very important for this reason. Let me go back to the three. I didn't finish that. So the first thing is the interview notes. That's called the Wilson document. Then there was a series of emails and memos being emailed between members of what were on the main board and the Science Advisory Board for NIDS, National Institute of Discovery Science at the time, emails going back and forth. And then a third document, which was on NIDS letterhead, or a copy, but a color copy, because the letterhead has color on it. Design, artwork, all right, in color for NIDS, National Institute of Discovery Science. And a letter it's like a form letter going out to a bunch of people who were on their science advisory board at the time. And one of the members of the science advisory board was the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell, astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell. So this one letter is going to him. It's addressed to him, but you can tell it's being addressed to other people. And in the end, it's signed by Robert Bigelow. But it was obviously, you can tell from the little initials under that it was typed up by a secretary or assistant, an admin assistant. And so there are paragraphs in there specifically meant for Dr. Mitchell and his participation or not in this upcoming Science Advisory Board meeting. And he was on the Science Advisory Board for NIDS. So there you go. And then paragraphs in there that look like they're worded for other people coming to the meeting. Like there was one basic form letter for everyone, but it spelled out everybody's separate participation. And so those are the three documents being talked about. Now, the only one that's really being pursued in this new investigation is the main one, which is what we call the Wilson document, which is just the meeting notes by Eric Davis from his interview. I am under the understanding now that in a variety of different interviews and conversations that Eric has said, yes, that was his, that he wrote it. I believe that's the case. And we know that what's the word? It's always escaping me. The chain of command of the documents. It's a word that begins with a P. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, but we know that the chain of command of the documents and where they came from, again, on the Science Advisory Board was Dr. Edgar Mitchell, and that these were copies of NIDS documents in Edgar Mitchell's possession. And Edgar Mitchell was working on a project with someone. And that it's not anyone involved in the UFO field. In fact, it's someone who's very negative about UFO stuff. And that, but this person was apparently going to do some writing project or a book project or something with Dr. Edgar Mitchell, probably about his life, who knows, something like that is my understanding. And that this person, Edgar, gave him some files and these documents were in there. Now I'm under the understanding, since all this over the last year, that the people involved had a chance to look to see if there were more documents and that there are not. So my understanding is there are no more documents related or of any significance. Even if there was any more correspondence from NIDS, I am told it is not significant. So these were the three most significant things that these people determined and said there is not anymore. That's what I'm hearing.
All right.
So
Do you hear that?
True, but that's what I'm being told.
Are you hearing that there are more documents coming out very soon? Because I am.
No. I was literally told by one of the key people involved, who's, firsthand involvement, that they had a chance to look for other things in the guy's possession who had these in his possession from Edgar Mitchell in this guy's possession, that there are not more things there. So there will be nothing else, is what I was told. And I trust this and believe this person. Right. They looked, there was a chance, and there's no more coming out. Now, unless he was just telling me that, and they are going to release something, but I do trust this person. And so if he says, and we looked and there's nothing else, I believe him.
What do you think of MUFON? Changing topics here, because we only got about 8 minutes left. What do you think of MUFON coming out with a brand new advisory council that includes Chris Mellon from the To the Stars Academy, Kevin Day from the Nimitz incident. Let's see here. Calvin Parker, experiencer, Paul Hynek, J. Allen Hynek's son, and a number of others. What do you think of this? What's the purpose of this?
Well, bottom line is, okay, A, have I heard of it? Yes. Do I know for sure what they're doing? No. My guess is it's kind of honorary, like they're recognizing some people. and letting them consult them if they have something related. Like, Kevin Day, radar specialist on the Princeton during the Nimitz encounter incidents. Okay. And it could be that, I'd have to ask Kevin, but my understanding, cursory at this, is that would make sense given, hey, if we have anything else coming up about this, or we're approached this, we can go to Kevin directly for the answers and the information about it. And if we have the opportunity to be involved in projects. So, so I can see that. That makes sense. Same with some of the other people involved. It could be honorary or the possibility that we'll use you, or maybe they just want to run things by them that they're getting included in. Now, the big aha kind of in there, or what, in there, is the fact that they asked Chris Mellon. Now,
yes.
That on the surface, I don't have any problem with that, and it could be that that they're foreseeing again MUFON and its board of directors may be foreseeing that as projects or stuff come up that we might or may not do with To the Stars or something, to have a direct connection with someone who's willing to talk to us. And or if we get media requests, because they are, of course. So if they're getting media requests, and they can send those people to Chris if they have media requests about, To the Stars and MUFON's connection or knowledge of it. Okay, that makes sense to me. If they're asking him for further, feedback on how the military is handling this, how the Pentagon's handling this, who knows? It's almost more like I understand why they'd be asking Chris Mellon. What I don't necessarily understand is why Chris Mellon would say yes. What's in it for To the Stars to be associated with MUFON? Maybe there's something there they talked about that I just know nothing about. There's no reason I would. So I don't have any surface level problem with it, other than it's just very, very curious. Is it okay? Is To the Stars going to do work with MUFON? As far as my 40-year history of the working group, and when you go to the Stars is a spinoff from the announcement of ATIP, right, and OSAP. So you have ATIP, OSAP, which came out of BASS, Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Science Studies or Space Studies, so BASS. And then the precursor to BASS was NIDS, and the precursor to the NIDS was the Advanced Theoretical Physics Working Group, or the Working Group. So you have this kind of ongoing development over time of disbanding, reforming, but never really going away. And I find it curious because BASS and NIDS and the working group, so whether under the understanding of calling it BASS or calling it NIDS or calling it the working group, all three had a real close connection repeatedly with MUFON. There's a history there of them funding MUFON, funding projects, funding what was called the STAR team, their research team that would go out on major investigations. Science team, would be sent out, and as well as other UFO research organizations. It wasn't just MUFON; it was multiple organizations and multiple abduction researchers and abduction research projects. So the funding for those was coming from Bigelow, although at the point that BASS went into OSAP and ATIP, then it became, funding directly from the Pentagon too. So there you go. So, or funding from the Pentagon going through Bigelow, because those meetings and things that happened at Bigelow Aerospace. So they were getting government funding to run a project for them. This is, anyone who's followed the story closely, nothing I just said should be of a surprise. And so you go into, well, this is interesting that they have this past history with MUFON and this past history of funding of MUFON projects. And so is there something underway again to do that? I don't know. And again, I want everyone to know I don't have a problem with this. Maybe other people do. I don't have a problem with it. I question why, what's going on? Is just honorary thing? How much say so? And does Chris, therefore, his involvement represent that somehow MUFON and To the Stars are associated with each other, or going to be doing some projects or something together? I think the obvious answer to that must be yes, because that's the only thing that would make sense. But what those are and why, I have no idea. So I'm curious. I don't have any problem with it. I'm just curious. And my only minor concern is because of the past history. Sometimes that Bigelow and his compadres, were associated with MUFON, didn't go so well. There's some things there that did not go well. And so there's a track record that is problematic. Now, does that mean To the Stars is going to have any problem with MUFON? No, there's no reason to think they would. But, it just makes me go, really? Why are you guys doing this? So anyways, that's all. Bottom line, I have questions. I don't have any problem with it. I just have questions as to why. And I certainly don't want any of their past problems revisited. There you go.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see, and I agree with the Chris Mellon feature. I mean, there has to be a tie between the To the Stars Academy and MUFON, one that we didn't expect, one that really hasn't been publicly announced, even though Lou Elizondo and Jan Harzan kind of let that go on another radio show about, in 2018. So it's very interesting. Melinda, I want to say thank you so much for coming on, going the distance tonight on Spaced Out Radio. It's been an absolute privilege to have you here. I know we could probably fill up an entire week with all of the information that you have covered here. And, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being a friend of mine personally and for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. And, because you asked me to share an experience, you asked me, and we're friends, and I'm willing to,
I know, and I love you for it.
And it's an experience I've shared before. So it's not like, part of me is like, well, I've done this before. Am I uncomfortable talking about it? Yeah, but I'm willing to. I've done it before. But you guys, I want you to say that, I want you to realize it wasn't Melinda going, oh, this is my experience. The whole point there is, this is what happens to other people. This is what happens to other abductees. And it's not just a few, it's a lot of abductees that have
Melinda,
this kind
you
of
hold on. I got to wrap this thing up. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Special thanks to everybody listening in on our chat rooms on LGAB, Rev Radio, Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club on our website and Twitter, and all the snarkers and snarkettes at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You were absolutely fantastic tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together they're my friends. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for jumping on the Woo train with us. Remember, your ticket never expires. Your seat is always available. And we're always going to roll out right to Wooville. Have a great night. All right, Melinda.